got a new job. So, I was like laid off in, I think it was like June or July. And then I hit up, the Georgia and the Caverns shows like right before I started my new job. So it was like a nice little, like, okay, time to, wook out and then get back to the grind of working. So
Yeah, well, look, you got to the older you get, I figure you got to like wook out while you can. It's kind of like when I was young, it was all day, every day wook fest. But when you got bills to pay, suddenly all of a sudden, you got to take care of business sometimes.
yeah, not just bills, you fucking South Beach bills, man. That's a
Trust me, I left South Beach because Richmond bills are. I mean, I went from a 1 bedroom down there. I got a 3 bedroom here. I got a studio now, I'm kind
nice.
of putting together here. So it's definitely
That's sweet.
yeah. I got a cat here over my microphone.
Dude, that's me, man. Cat hair's all over my mic too, dude.
Yeah, what do you got? A cat, 2 cats, 10 cats?
I got one. I wanted to get two initially, man. My husband. So I initially wanted to get a Maine Coon, or like two of them,
Nice.
and my husband's a big Swiftie,
Okay.
so she has a rag doll, and he was like, we have to get a rag doll because Taylor Swift has a rag doll, and I was like, all right, we'll get a rag doll. So yeah, we have a rag doll. His name's Houdini. He's a cutie,
Nice.
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like he needs like a sibling for sure.
So we have a cat and a dog. So I'm like, all right, they got siblings, but we still want to both add another cat and or another dog. We'll see. We're just getting
Yeah.
situated now. How long you been in South Beach for?
South Beach about like just hit a year.
Oh, got it. Where were you before this?
So I grew up in Boston in Central Mass. And from 2018 to 2022, I was in Key West. And that's where I ended up like meeting my husband, a bunch of friends and whatnot. My husband's from Argentina. And so
Cool.
I ended up getting a new job in like April of 2022. We moved back up to Boston for that. And things just, it was nice being home near the family and old friends and whatnot, but just the lifestyle and everything, we were like, we need to get back down to South Florida. I mean, especially, not many Latin people for my husband in Massachusetts, at least where
There's
we were
definitely
living.
more in Miami.
Yeah.
Haven't been there. Definitely no shortage there. I like. Did you go to the Pigeon shows? Did you go like the Fort Lauderdale show? Were you in town for that?
I only went to the Fort Lauderdale one. I wanted to hit all four. I think it was four that they did in Florida back last winter.
Jacksonville,
Yeah,
Tampa,
St.
Orlando.
Augustine, I
Yep.
think. Anyway, but yeah, I was only able to hit the Fort Lauderdale show, but that was an awesome show. Like it was great to see them. I mean, being in Miami, it's dry down here for jam bands, dude. Like we have Heavy Pets, Guavatron,
Tanned.
the heavy pet. Well, yeah, Tanned, the Heavy Pets, and Guavatron and Tanned. Like
Oh,
that's
the Lemon City Trio. I don't know if you're onto them yet, but
wait,
they're
who?
Miami locals. I saw them one time at Gramps, which I don't know if you've been there before, but amazing
No,
bar over in Wynwood. Dude, got to look Gramps up. You'd love it.
Gramps
But
and Winwood.
yeah, not Alkaline Trio, the Lemon City Trio. But amazing little band. I was like, we walked there one night just to check it out, and dude's crushed.
Cool, man. I just Googled them so I can make sure to have it on another tab for after this. But yeah, thanks for turning me on, man, to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Look, thanks for coming on. How did you first get into Pigeons?
So my first show was back in 2015 in Ithaca, back at a place called the Dock, and it was just happenstance. I ended up going. So I being a deadhead and wearing dead t-shirts and stuff around campus, I bumped into this one chick one time, and she was like, hey, you're into the Dead, are you into psychedelics and stuff? And I was like, obviously, yeah, sure.
Maybe, perhaps.
And so she was like, well, I'm actually interested in starting like a psychedelics club, more so not for like that, but more so for like mental health benefits and research and
Yep.
whatnot. And I was super interested in trying to start that with her. Couldn't get it off the ground, unfortunately. Nobody wanted to really support that. But so she randomly messaged me one day, and she was like, hey, there's a band playing down at the Dock, you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. Ended up being Pigeons. And
Nice.
and they blew my mind. I mean, I was, it was like a crowd of maybe like 25, 30 people. And, I was right in front of Jeremy the whole time. And I was just like having him melt my face. And he was just like pushing his guitar in my face the whole time.
Eat it.
And yeah, man, it was great. And I ended up chatting with them after the show. Mostly Jeremy. And, I told him because I was at Peach Fest that summer, that prior summer. And that was actually like my first music festival. I just started really getting into like the live jam band music. Live Dead even was like 2014. So still relatively new to the scene, 10 years in. But I remember talking to him about Peach, and I didn't catch them at Peach that year, but he was telling me how their lighting guy, I don't know if their lights guy has changed in the past years or not, but he mentioned how their lighting guy did the lights for Billy and the Kids at Peach that year. And I think he brought that up because I was telling him about how great the lights were for Billy and the Kids. So
I think it's funny. I'm wearing my Peach Fest hat today that you call it
oh,
out.
I
And
didn't
that
even
Peach
realize
Fest
that.
is where I first met Ben. I missed their set, but my first show was like, I think, a few weeks after that. So
Nice.
it's funny. Yeah, I love that comes together.
Yeah. I miss Peach, man. I went in 2015, 18, 21, and 22. And I was bummed that they weren't going to throw it on again this year. And I was really bummed. I think it was 2022 where Pigeon's set got cut short by like half because of the lightning that
Yep.
was incoming and whatnot. So
Look, it was the Poseidon into Beneath the Surface that,
yes.
Mother Nature said, shut it down. This is too
Yep.
much. Because I remember, and I know I've said this on the show before, but like at the end of that Beneath the Surface, I remember looking over at Shannon and being like, I got to sit down. My knees were weak. I was like, they hit some other kind of vibe during that jam. It was so good. And that Poseidon they had right on the heels of that was just epic. And such a shame it got shut down. And it's a shame that the Pigeons' legacy at Peach Fest kind of ended that way. And then there's, hopefully it comes back someday. But at this point, it seems questionable at best, as they tried to do a Peach at the Beach, which I heard mixed reviews on. It's always tough to try to pivot, but, it'd be cool to bring them back in some way, shape, or form in the future.
Oh, definitely. No, to take it back to you saying you had to sit down. I was the same, man. Like I was with my dad, and I was on something, but I was like, man, I gotta sit because like the lights and how they were jamming it out. I was like, man, I am overwhelmed right now. So I had to sit down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the vibe I get for the Pigeons. I'm excited. I have some shows coming up. I mean, I'm on the largest show gap I've seen since the pandemic. I feel like this year, I saw the February shows, and I've been on a drought since then. So, I got some coming up: DC, New Year's, maybe Connecticut as well. So at least I'll finish the year strong. But did you make to a couple shows this summer?
Yeah, so I went to so like I mentioned earlier how I got like laid off back in June. I made it a point. I was like, well, I'm unemployed with a what do they call it? Not a pension, but a the exit package, something package, whatever. Layoff package. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to spend some of this cash and drive up from Miami, go up to Atlanta to see my friend who had never seen Pigeons before. Nice. I dragged her to Sweetwater back in April of 2022, I think, because I met her down in Key West. We became friends, and then she moved up to Atlanta. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like Pigeons is playing in Atlanta, or Athens, like an hour away from Atlanta, and then Caverns, Pigeons, Frasco, Dogs. That's like, I think it was only like 2 hours maybe from Atlanta. I don't know. I don't remember, but it wasn't that bad of a drive. And so I was like, yeah, hey, I can crash at your place. We'll go to Athens, catch the Pigeon show. And then if you want to come camping with me at the Caverns, we got Pigeons, Frasco, Dogs 2 days. And then because her boyfriend's really into Umphreys. So nice. I was like, Umphreys is playing Sunday, so we can turn it into a little weekend. And at
the Caverns also?
Yeah. So Umphreys was at Caverns Sunday night, dude.
Punch. Yeah. That would be sick. I mean, Umphreys is one of my OG loves. They've got me through some times way back in the early 2000s. Nice. Love me some Umphreys. That'd be a cool 2-night Caverns run. Pigeons, Dog, Frasco. That's almost too much. Get out of here.
Okay. So speaking about it being too much, with her, because she's not super into jam bands. I knew going into it, I was like, look, I know this is going to be like a long weekend for you. So whenever you want to leave during Umphreys, we'll get out of here and go, because I know we're both exhausted. And so I think we caught like the first set of Umphreys, and then we stayed for like the first song or two of the second set. And she was like, yeah, let's get rolling. And I was like, perfect timing. And but yeah, we had a great time. I mean, Pigeons, Frasco Dogs threw down both nights. And then Umphreys did a really great job too. It had been a while since I'd seen Umphreys. I think the last time I saw Umphreys before that was Sweetwater
Oh, really?
2022. So, oh yeah. It had been a while. It had been a while.
So I think they play. I want to say it was this year, but I saw them at the band shell, and it had
Nice.
maybe been a couple years since I've seen Humphreys. My first show with them was like in 2003. I saw them before. I think I saw them
Damn.
before I saw Fish. But I had this set list in my head of like just unrealistic, like I'm not even going to say it out loud because people are like, you're never going to get that. Nothing too fancy. I ran like boom. All of a sudden, they were just hammering every. I mean, I'm sitting there looking at Shannon. I'm like crying. I'm just like, this is the most amazing day of my life. Like, just absolutely having the best time ever as they played a bunch of songs that I really wanted to hear the most. And yeah, not to make this all about Humphreys, but damn, that was a hot show
Right.
for me, like literally and figuratively. But the
Well,
Caverns is one
speaking
place. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of the band shell, I mean the poster that's right behind me here is actually Pigeons tour. It fell off my wall, that's why it's sitting there. But it's the Pigeons Southeast little run that they did back in 2021 in December, where they played at the first ever North Beach Music Festival that's held at the band shell there. And so
Yep.
I went to that show, and that was my first time I'd seen Pigeons in a while. So it got me right back on with them, and yeah, but yeah, that was just my little tidbit. I don't even know if they're gonna do the North Beach Music Fest this year. There's been nothing. I've been messaging them about it, being like, hey, just even a no, just tell us that you're
Mhm.
not having it, so we're not sitting here waiting. You know?
Yeah, I feel like last year it was a little lacking. It was a little dead. I don't think they did the ticket sales,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, maybe had they had the Pigeons back, it might maybe things could have been different. I'm not here to. I am here to critique and judge. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. But hope it comes back. But at this point, we're out of Miami. One of my big things I was joking with Shannon about was I was like, I swear to God, if Fish announces Miami for New Year's, I'm going to lose my shit. It's like if Trey could troll me just one more time, that would be it. Uh, but it made me not regret anything. We're still looking forward to New Year's Eve. But was this your first time at the Caverns when you went to
It
see these shows?
was, yeah, it was.
So what's your take
So
on like the venue, the setup? Like, how do you? Because I haven't been, unfortunately. I'm like living vicariously through everybody right now.
okay. So the setup was really cool. I know on like the Flock Facebook group and whatnot, there you could either camp at like on site at the Caverns, or you could do Big Mouth. We went with Big Mouth, as well as a good handful of other flockers that are on the group there. And I really liked camping there. They had like showers and whatnot. Whereas, I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad about like the Caverns camping, but they didn't have like showers or anything like that. I think they had, Big Mouth had better amenities, more shade, from what it seemed like. So the camping, fantastic. It was a great crew of people there, really chill. The owner was great. As far as the venue, really awesome venue. I mean, like walking in there, they have this really cool, like, there's two ways to get up there. You can go in the back way or the regular way, and the regular way is more of a hike. But it's really cool. Like, you're walking through the woods, and they have like this nice little lighted path at night, and it's hearing all like the crickets and whatnot chirping. It's a nice little path, and you pass by their outdoor stage, getting into the security area, and then you walk on down. That's where some of the vendors were set up, and like the food trucks and whatnot. And then you just walk in. You had this like little area of the cave that was like half outdoors, half indoors, and they had like the official merch sitting there. And then you walk in, and it's just cave, and you can
Cool.
just see just a flood of heads leading all the way down to the band and the lights, and it was really cool. I thought that the acoustics were going to be brutal in there, like echoing off of the walls
That
because
was
it's
always
a
my thought,
cave,
right?
you know?
Right.
But it was really good. I mean, going back and like listening to some of the audio of the sets that were played there, you could definitely hear more than you could have heard if you were there live. I mean, it's a soundboard, so you're going to hear more anyway. Um, but no, I mean, it was really cool. With it being really hot outside during the day and going into the cave where it's like nice and cool. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like cold or anything, but it was just a very comfortable temperature. Um, Not slippery or anything. I didn't see any like wet patches or anything that made it slippery. The only downside is like the floor is like slightly slanted. So like no matter where you're standing, one ankle is just slightly higher than the other. And I have terrible back issues. So I was feeling that all night, which I mean, not a huge deal. As long as you're moving and dancing,
I was gonna
that
say
doesn't
keep
matter.
dancing, and then you just kind of just work your way with it, kind of
Exactly.
roll with the slope there. So of like the three shows you saw, like Georgia Theater, Caverns, night one, night two, did you have a favorite night of the three shows that you saw?
It's I've always said that the next Pigeon show is going to be, I know is going to be the best one because the last Pigeon show I've seen is like, damn, that's the best I've ever heard them play. And then like, the next show comes, it's like, damn, that's the best I've ever heard them play. Um, I mean, I couldn't really tell you which one I liked better than the others. I mean, maybe I'm biased because night one we got to feed the fire, or night one at the Caverns we got feed the fire, and I was hoping they
You're a
would
Feed the Fire
play.
guy. I like it.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Feed the. I mean, I was there for New Year's last year in Boston. We got that. What was it like? Feed the fire into Snake Eyes, or it might have been vice versa. I can't remember. But yeah, I love those tunes, and yeah, so I was hoping for a Feed the Fire. Got that one night one. I know. I think it was a night here. I have the set list pulled up. What am I
Yeah,
doing here?
they did like a Pop Off, Too Long, Havana, Julia, Live It Up, Indiglo, Condenser, Second Skin Condenser, Henrietta, Couldn't We All, Bye Bye Bye, Blinding Lights, ending with the CWA there. Like
Yeah.
it's a pretty punchy show from like start to
Oh
finish.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. The Athens, Georgia theater, that was a fantastic set, especially with it like being my friend's like first Pigeon show. The only downside of that venue, with it being at a college town, you're gonna have a lot of college kids
The bros
in the
were out in
crowd.
effect.
Yeah, man, dude, the bros were there in full
They're
effect,
chomping at
man.
the back.
Dude, you couldn't find a spot where they weren't. I mean, it was pretty brutal. But
Yeah, I've had
I
a few of
mean,
those.
I think that was Ben's first show back, right? Was the
I believe
Athens
it was,
show?
yeah.
So I didn't know. I mean, I had a feeling he was going to be coming back for Caverns. I was going into the Athens show fully thinking that we were going to have Gub on bass, and
Yep.
so when I saw Ben come out, I was like, "Oh, dude, welcome back, man!" Although I was really excited to see them with Gub because listening to the shows that Gub sat in with, he killed it, man. He was
Dude,
really good
Gub's a
with them.
beast. You can't deny it. So, I mean, look, it's big shoes to fill if Ben's going to step aside for a second. But if there's one
Yeah.
person that can step in, I mean, Gub did it and did it, I'll say pretty seamlessly for a guy who just had very little notice to jump on board and, bring the funk. So,
Yeah.
shout out Gub.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at that set list though for Athens, and I completely forgot about the bye bye bye, and that was just such a curveball. Like at first, like you I think it was Jeremy that led like the key change, and I was like, oh, where the hell are they going with this? And
Yeah.
then boom, they went into it. I was like, oh, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. I mean, it was great. I loved it, but I was like, dude, like,
Dude,
no
I
way.
remember the first time I saw them play it was at Podfest. And I look, I'm not like I'm a big NSYNC guy or anything, but
Right.
like, everyone who grew up at, at that time would know the dance, the song. I
Yeah.
mean, you just couldn't help it. Was such a big thing at the time. So I was just going crazy. But I love it because that's one of the things I love about Pigeons is the covers they'll play, like they'll really go anywhere, right? Like
Yeah.
they feel the freedom to take it into, NSYNC. I mean, like that's not necessarily your normal band. You go into Zeppelin or Dead or, like there's certain bands that like, oh, it's a no brainer, but they'll definitely kind of push the limits of, what they find to be funky and going into. So yeah, a good bye bye bye
Absolutely,
is always
man.
appreciated. I mean, look, I love a standalone. Couldn't we all? But I like a
Hmm.
little sequence in there too.
No, definitely. And speaking of sequences, going into, I guess, if we want to change gears into night one of the Caverns, the walk outside surreal sandwich to open that up. I love that sequence that they do. I don't know when they started
Strong
doing
opener.
those together. Yeah, very strong opener, and I don't remember when they started doing that. I heard it on another recent show. I think it was from over winter time too. They might have probably started doing that beforehand though, but I love that sequence. They work so well together.
Mhm.
Um, really, really great tunes. I'm still dying to get a sunny day though. The last sunny day I had was December 9th, 2022 in Albany. That one was killer with Jeremy from Dogs in a Pile on the keys sitting in on that. Man, if you haven't heard that sunny day, get on it. It's so good.
I'll have to go back and check it out. I mean, look, I have to say, there's no bad sunny days.
No,
It'd be hard pressed for me to tell you this one. They phoned it in and didn't really do it. I mean, that's one of those songs that just goes hard just about every time.
that's why it's my
Um,
favorite.
but yeah, look, after that walk outside sandwich, right? Like, it only makes sense. And Melting Lights is like your cool down song, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, all right, get you dialed back into a little underworld because you're in a cave. I think it's just kind of more
Hmm.
topical. And then it seems like the Something For You, Feed the Fire with the Moon Taxi keys sit in into Ocean
Hmm.
Flows, like, and then that next sequence where they do the Walking on the Moon, like, dude, that's just literally heat they're coming out with that show in.
I love when they do "Walking on the Moon." They do such a good job with that tune, and I think who else does that? I think Cheese has done covers of that one
Really?
too that I really like as well. But I love when Pigeons does that.
I remember
Um,
at the New Year's show when they're playing it, instinctually, everyone just starts walking like this. You see everyone just kind of at the back of the floor was doing these big, like we're walking across the, like, it was
yeah,
just hilarious. There was like just a couple dozen people just floating around in the back of the show. It was so much fun.
no, that's great, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good with the weirdos at the back of the floor, what they're doing during the show with them.
Absolutely,
You don't find me on the rail. I'm hanging where I got some space.
yeah,
All
no,
right. So
for
that brings me to
sure.
the question. Where is your preferred spot to hang out during a show? Do you have a favorite area?
So when I first started getting into jam bands and like going to like Dark Star Orchestra, for example, for like some of my first shows ever, I was definitely big into just like I want to be right up there. I want to be like for Dark Star, like Jeff. I want to be right in front of Jeff, and I want his because I'm a guitarist too. I
Oh,
play
cool.
guitar, and so I was like really into like watching what the lead guitarist does and all that, and then gradually as I calmed down and settled into and got older, I guess being on the rail isn't as great. Being smushed up there, I like my space. I like being able to dance. If I'm feeling crowded, then I start to get stiff, back hurts. No,
Yep.
I need to be dancing. But no, I mean I guess I'm everywhere, man. I'm anywhere that has like good space or good people around. I mean, like I'll be in front of Greg or Ben or Jeremy. It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess depending on the night or what I'm feeling. But yeah, I'll be anywhere as long as I can boogie, dude.
If the
That's what
vibes are
it's all
high and there's
about,
room
man.
to boogie, you'll find them there. I love
Yeah,
that.
dude. Exactly.
Yeah, for me, look, shout out to all my rail riding friends out there. God bless you. Godspeed. I can't be within 20 feet of the stage. And part of it is also I don't want the band looking at me. I don't want them to see me
Oh,
being all weird there, dancing crazy. I'm in the back. They can't quite see me back there. I've had a few times at a show where I see like Greg looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing?
dude,
I don't
I
need
I I
that vibe.
love the faces that Greg makes though. Like when they're getting into like a really like like type of jam when he's just like in your face. I love that. I love that a lot.
Yeah,
Get
I'm wondering how the
Gets you
kids
going.
feel about it. So today, Greg was doing the kids scramble Greg set at Ramble Fest,
Right.
and I think Garrett was streaming it. I forget. I think it was Garrett. Anyway, I tuned in for a couple minutes, and it was fun seeing Greg do kind of like a kids set. Right, you see a bunch of kids and their parents are there having a great time, And that's one thing that I do like about Greg is he's also, now that he's a dad, I think that kind of is like almost more like kind of
Mhm.
becoming instinctual for him. But for him to, he's such a positive, playful, energetic person. And I only watched about maybe 10 minutes of the stream that was going on. But, just engaging with the kids, being fun, being just energetic. I love how Greg can, totally blow our minds as adults and then also totally like dial it to a different level and have fun with kids. And actually the kids were engaged. They were like enjoying it and really like doing that. So while that was something completely different, I do miss a Scrambled Greg set. I was saying that like at Dome Fest the last time, like there was no Scrambled Greg set. Like I
Mhm.
dig a good, solo Greg set, but at the end of the day, it was still cool to see him do that for the kids.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually I meant to catch that because I remember Garrett posting on the group saying that he was thinking of maybe streaming it, and I think I was like checking out the page like yesterday or something. I was like, I should have looked at like the schedule of when that was going to happen, so I would have known better. But I mean, if he streamed a little bit of it, then the video's on there, so I'll get to check it out later, I guess. But
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
yeah,
it'll
no,
still be
that
up on the block later there, but
yeah.
always dynamic, always different, always doing their own thing. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the Pigeons always. But man, when they close that first night out, close that Ocean Flows my own way. And if I was there, I would have thought basically because they've been doing a lot of set closing my own ways where they kind of jam it
Hmm.
out. But then just to rock that into a Poseidon with Jeremy Kaplan coming out, like that had to be just a
Yeah.
sick way to finish the show.
It was a great way to finish it, and yeah, I mean, like the friend that I brought along with me, with that being her essentially like her first Poseidon, she ended up like I think she was somewhere in the back, but she ended up like coming up for it, and I was like, oh, this is perfect timing for you to rejoin me because this song right here is one of the best that they do. I love Poseidon. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Poseidon or a Horizon or both in one show. I mean, those are for me like the two like pinnacle pigeons, or maybe not pinnacle. I'm trying to think of a better word,
No, but I know what you
but
mean though. But like, look, there's
quintessential.
thank you. Good call. Good word. Like there's certain songs that I see Jeremy really like not just gets into, but shines, right? Like he's just out there, like really just like superstar guitarist, like absolutely murdering. And he just is just on fire up there, right? He glows when he does the Poseidon,
Yeah.
especially towards the end when he's just hitting those high notes and just holding it. Like, that guy's having the best time of his life up there. And I mean, look, when they're having fun, we're having fun. I mean, that's the equation, at the end of the day. And these guys go up there and they rip it. So solid way to end. It looks like the rock and roll encore probably had everybody out there.
Yeah, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I think it was that way. I'm pretty sure for
Pretty
like
much
the
the whole
whole
tour.
tour, whenever they would do, yeah, the whole Pigeons Frasco Dogs, whenever they would encore, I think it was just everybody all at once.
Yep.
I mean, the two Cavern shows were the only Pigeons Frasco Dogs shows that I caught. Um, and every now and then, like I try to get in on the stream on the Facebook group there. But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, every encore it was everybody out there, and but yeah, I mean, that was a great encore for night one for sure.
Before
It
this
was a
run,
great
had
time.
you had much experience with Frasco or dogs?
So it's funny you mentioned Frasco. There had been so many. I mean, especially at Peach Fest too. Like I was so intent on being like, I need to catch the Frasco set because especially in a festival setting, he throws down, and every single time I somehow missed the set. I think it might have been like Peach 2021 or 20. No, I think the last one I might have missed was Peach 2021. He It was raining obviously because it's Peach, and me and my buddy went up to get ready for the Frasco set, and like the mushroom stage, it looked like they were like tarping things, and because of the rain, and I was like, oh shit, maybe they're just skipping his set. And so we went back down to the main
Oh,
stage
all the way
to
back
catch,
down.
I forget. Yeah, all the way back down.
All the way back
Honestly,
down.
walking down is better than walking up. That's for damn sure.
You got to get up to get down,
But
if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, so we walked all the way back down, saw the band that was there, and then I think like when that band ended, I went on like Instagram to like look at like the schedule, be like, okay, who's up next? And then I'm seeing all these posts of videos of the Frasco set at the Mushroom stage of them just going nuts. And I was
I
like, you
was
gotta be
there, man. It
kidding
was
me, dude.
crazy. Yeah.
Like, oh, so yeah, I missed him so many times. And actually, so night one at the Caverns, I'm not going to get into too many details, but the friend I took, we ended up missing the dog set, the night one dog set, and I was a little worried at first. I was like, if anything were to happen, like, of course I'm going to miss the Frasco set because of what's going on. I was like, it's destined for me to always miss the Frasco set, but thankfully we didn't. So that was actually my first Frasco experience was night one at the Caverns, which was a blast. Uh, Absolutely threw down. He threw down both nights. Both times were a blast. Love seeing him. I have a bunch of people in my stream community that are really into Frasco and love seeing him whenever they can, even when he's just doing his normal little tours and whatnot. That they love him and they've been telling me forever, like, you got to go see him, got to go see him. And so I was very happy to have finally caught him.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough that actually Frasco and Dogs went through the band shell right before Dogs Frasco Pigeons tour started. So I got to see like two of the three, and that was like I've seen Frasco like maybe twice, three times, like the Peach Fest set you were just talking about. And but it was the one down in Miami where it was more, not a festival set. It was kind of more just like him headlining, right, with Dogs opening. And God, that guy's just an entertainer. At the end of the
Yep.
day, like he is just, he it's not even music. It's a comedy show. It's a concert. It's a therapy session, right? This guy is just like, it's madness and chaos all in
Yep.
one. And it's so infectious and contagious. I can see why everybody loves this guy, and kind of see how the Pigeons are kind of, it was like a traveling band of weirdos, right? Like it's just so cool from place to place. And I thought it was a good mix too, because, the dog pound brings a lot of people out, what the dogs have
Yeah.
done over the last couple of years of just going from kind of just playing at, little bars and stuff to now they're, I think I saw they're co-headlining the Cap with Eggy coming up. Like,
Yeah, I saw
amazing.
that.
Like they're kids. I mean, I look at them like they're
Yep.
little babies up there. I love it. I couldn't be more proud of just some young men that are really just trying hard, making good music and actually building quite like a rabid following. That's always
Yep.
my gauge of a band, right? Is like, how aggressive are their fans to like see them, chase them, consume their music and what they're putting out there. And the Dogs do that really, really well. So I'm always really excited to see how they continue to grow up. I mean, even Eggy's another one, being in the scene for a while, it's always kind of bands I've heard about. Oh, they opened for Pigeons at one time years ago. I remember this little band Goose, used to open for Pigeons.
Yeah.
Then those guys seem to be doing something decent right now. So, the Pigeons have always been that kind of cultivator of young talent and giving, opportunities to
Absolutely.
your bands to go, go on the road with them. And, they've done that with just about everybody at this point. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. So night two, going in, a Kiwi, hell yeah, then into Cantina. It's a fun way to open a show.
Yeah, that was great. I love Kiwi so much. That's all. I mean, you could say that
Who
about
does?
almost
I mean,
every single song. Like almost like I always say like, oh, that's one of my favorite tunes, and then I realize like, oh, my list of one of my favorite tunes is practically almost every song in their repertoire. Uh, so
well,
it's
when it
kind of
kind of
redundant
peaks
to
at
say
the
that.
end and it's like that,
Right.
well, you go back into the chorus again. Like that's
Yeah.
like, it's just like they build it, and then it's just like the dam bursts, and then it's just like, oh, the emotion just kind of rushes over you.
Exactly.
And everyone's singing along as that closes. It's just the best ending to a song. Everyone's just like there.
It's so good. Yeah, like just like how you said it, like they build up that tension and that jam, and then exactly they open the floodgates, and you
Right.
feel that rush of just I don't want to say like relief, but
I
it's
got
almost just
goosebumps
like a
right here.
oh yeah, like there it is, like it's they do that with a ton of tunes too, man. I love it. I love Pigeons so much, man. They're the best, dude.
It's
They're the
not a
best.
controversial take on this show, I promise. Yeah, but so the Cantina Fall in Place, for me, I love when I get to X Files.
Hmm.
One of my favorites is going back to one of their last New Year's shows in Asheville. And when they broke into that, man, I don't think I've raged as hard for just, they really hit that one a little extra hard. And then going
Yeah.
from there into a porcupine, there's a lot of emotions going on in this first set. We're only halfway in.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, going back to X-Files there, I loved how they opened up their the undercover set at Dome Fest last year with X-Files. I think that's what they opened it with. But that's I love when they do that, man. Um, Wonderful tune. And then Porcupine, I was thinking they were going to open one of these three shows, either Athens or one of the Caverns shows with Porcupine, because I mean that's such it's a banger opener. Like when they open up a show with Porcupine, it's going to be just a heater of a show. And they're like, all right,
Statistically, if you're going to guess Porcupine as an opener, you're going to hit once in a while. It's
yeah,
not a bad pick if
right.
you're going to guess the opener. It just, sure thing is like, all right,
Yeah.
maybe Porcupine.
But when they brought it back in like the middle of the set there, I was like, okay, there it is. There's the Porcupine.
Mhm.
I'm not a big radio. I think it's Radiohead that did
Yep.
that's the next tune, Subterranean Homesick Alien. So I didn't even know what tune this was when they played it, but I thought they did a very, very good job on it. Because like at first I was like, oh, I don't know this song. I was like, it doesn't sound like something that Pigeons
Is
would
it a
write.
cover?
So I don't.
Is it a new song?
Right.
I've been there before.
Yeah. So, but that it was really cool. I liked hearing that, and then the water was excellent. I mean, especially with Gator. I think
Throwing
like out
down
of
this sick middle section there.
dude, out of every time I've heard Water that night at the he went the craziest I had ever heard him go on that drum solo.
He is untethered.
Yeah,
Rage
absolutely.
knows no bounds.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, he was Gator don't play no shit, man.
Yeah. But to close that water out, into going into Beneath the Surface, which again makes sense, cave type song, right? Is Beneath the Surface. Keeping Kaplan back out there. And then to close with the Horizon, I think that's for a nice 2-night run, especially like in the caves. Again, that's like a warm blanket just to send you home with, just have the dryer.
Like as the night was going on and seeing how they did Poseidon the night before, I was like, okay, yeah, they're definitely going to be closing the night out with Horizon. Like I was like, it's a 97% sure thing that's what they're going to close with.
You're being generous.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, I always welcome a Horizon, no matter how many times I hear it. It's great. It's a great tune. And
I love sometimes where I get lost in the middle of it and I almost forget it's Horizon. I just kind of get so just in my own head and I'm just dancing, and all of a sudden they bring it back around. I'm like, oh shit, we're still in Horizon.
Dude, there have been times. Absolutely. There have been times. I think it wasn't this past year. It might have been like Northlands, like 2023 Northlands. I think they did a Poseidon into Horizon, and I think I've also heard them do a Poseidon Horizon together in other shows as well. But like sometimes like I'll be listening to Poseidon without Horizon in there, and like I'll sometimes think like, oh yeah, this is Horizon, and vice versa. Like it will be in Horizon, I'm like, this is Poseidon, and then get whacked in the face like, oh wait, no, it's not. Exactly, yeah, it's those two big, like I said, those two big quintessential tunes that they do.
Yeah, and I was excited when they posted on YouTube the Have a Cigar Encore.
Yeah,
I love that song, and going back, I had a couple friends of mine, like 15 years ago. We used to play a lot of Floyd when we were hanging out. They weren't into jam bands. So Floyd was kind of like the one crossover band that we were happy to have put on. So, a little Have a Cigar, some Echoes, right? But I love a little Floyd cover out of these guys.
I love Floyd covers from anybody, man. I'll take a Floyd cover anywhere. I love Floyd.
Yeah, it takes me back to the Daft Side of the Moon run. I got the poster right here. And shout out to everyone who talked shit on the last episode of me having no posters up or anything. I got the shit up. All right, guys, get off my back.
Oh, dude, it's better than me. Dude, it's better than me. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 posters that are fucking rolled up right there that I need to unroll. And especially with like half of them being foils, I need to really get on that and make sure that they're not ruined. But yeah, I have this whole wall here is just filled with posters, but with the humidity down here in Miami, man, they're hard to keep up. I have to use like super glue.
Don't let them get moldy, man. That's the one thing
Nah,
about Miami I learned. I never really even concerned my life about mold ever. And then down there, I lived in one apartment that had a mold problem, and sure enough, now I sniffing it out everywhere I go. I'm like, is this place good? What the hell? All right, cool.
thankfully the place that we're in here is like it's very nice. Like I think it was like built in like 91 or something like that, and it's
Nice.
like it's very well maintained. So central air and all that. We haven't had any mold issues. Living in Key West, however, that was a total different beast, man. That was having to change my guitar strings like every week because they would just get rusty.
Oh wow.
So yeah, with the salt air, it's brutal. And like getting into the hardware and stuff, I would get like computer issues and stuff with But yeah, besides that,
Yeah.
rambling.
So, so what do you got coming up? Any shows on the horizon for you?
Oh gosh, I mean, honestly, other than New Year's, Pittsburgh, I'll be there with you
Let's
at New
go.
Year's in Pittsburgh, man. Other than those 2 nights, I don't really have much. I did go down to Key West a couple weekends ago to see Guavatron.
Okay.
Um,
That'd be cool.
I was, yeah, they did a, I don't know if you've ever been to Key West, but there's a great
I've
music
been there
venue
a bunch
there.
of times, but never for concerts. I had a cruise ship I used to work on that would stop there, and since there's no golf course in Key West, I used to go down Duval Street and have drinks and debaucherous behaviors. But
Yeah,
I never
man.
saw any shows down there, but I know the area.
All right, that's cool. So wait, sorry to sidetrack, but are you in hospitality too?
No, no, I used to be a
Ah,
golf
okay.
pro back in the
Oh,
day, and then I had to
golf pro.
grow up and
God
get a real
damn, dude.
job. Yeah, it's like we'll do a whole other episode on my life on how I got to be in this crazy dude I am. But yeah, once upon a time I was a golf pro, and then got in the food
Damn.
business and gotten to, always been into music. It's always been kind of the through line through everything. First got into kind of the jam scene around 2002, and then just, it's kind of evolved since then. Yeah, so I enjoy the
Nice,
music.
man.
I love talking
Well,
about it with people. So I'm sorry, what did you say you have coming up though?
no, yeah. I mean, other than New Year's, I don't think I have
Okay.
anything planned. I mean, I'm hoping that something comes out about North Beach Music Fest, but I doubt anything's gonna happen. But yeah, like I went down to Key West a couple weeks ago for Guavatron. That was good. A night two was a lot better. So at the Green Parrot down there is where they have great bands. So that's where I that's where I found the Heavy Pets when I first moved down there, and
Cool.
they'd come down a lot, and they've had some great acts that play there. And so yeah, I saw that Guavatron was playing down there. Uh, Friday night, Saturday night, and then they do a little, 1 hour set on Sundays during the day. They call it sound check.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, Friday, I was a little bummed because like the entire night, they were just doing covers, and I think they, in September, Florida's pretty dead, and especially Key West. Key West is super dead in September, and I think that their mindset was like, okay, let's try and do more covers to try and get some like
Bring
non
people in, make it easy to
to bring
digest.
people in. But like being there, I was just like, dude, this is what you're gonna get. Like, so play your stuff, please. I mean, I wasn't saying that, but mentally, I was
Yeah,
just like,
look, I
please,
mean, as a fan, you want to see the band play, but as people who've
yeah,
never heard of them, I would say do a mix. Yeah, it could
yes,
be a cover heavy mix of, but going all covers, you're talking karaoke territory, but I'm sure like that was good and
right.
they had a good time.
They don't get me wrong. They did a great job with the covers. I'm not saying that they were doing a bad job. They did a great job with the covers. It's just I went to see Guavatron,
Mhm.
Um I mean the first time I saw them was back July 5th with the Heavy Pets in Miami. And that was a great show.
Cool.
I love both bands so much. And they opened for the Heavy Pets. And yeah, they threw down hard, really hard.
Nice. So, you got anything to plug? I mean, you said you had a stream. What's going on with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So I appreciate you letting me do that too.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing
We're a
live
Pigeons
streams.
community. The flock provides, my man. Like,
Right,
we're here
yeah.
to promote.
Oh, exactly, man. Yeah, I've kind of wanted to like throw it on the Flock page before, but I don't know how they would. I hate promoting myself. Like I
Mhm.
feel rude doing it, even though like I would love to get more people in to hang out. Um,
Guilty.
yeah, yeah, you see what I mean. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I've been doing live streams for like almost 4 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so every Sunday we do a Grateful Dead show, and on Thursdays we do anything that's not the Grateful Dead. So it can be a Grateful Dead tribute or anything. But we have jam bands, other jam bands. We've done so many different bands. I have a whole database of every show that we've ever played on my stream from the very beginning. So yeah, we do 8 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/Snayrat. Um, and yeah, it's a great time. We have folks from all walks of life, all around the country. We even have this one guy from the UK that's in every single stream, and all ages and everything. Even though the chatting doesn't really get to be all ages, but
It happens.
and yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like a hangout, listen to the music, or sometimes we'll have it on YouTube, like watch the concert itself if there's footage of it. But if there isn't, we do the audio with a music visualizer, which Twitch's bandwidth can't really handle how heavy the
Sure.
visualizer can get sometimes, so it kind of makes the stream a little blurry. But I mean, that's not a huge deal. We're there for the music.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
I mean,
it's
my
a
music's a
fun
little
time.
blurry at concerts anyway, so it's
Right,
cool.
yeah.
It's just a real experience, it's a little hazy. It's fine.
Exactly, man. But yeah, no, we have a good time. I mean, it's all different people, and they love coming for the music. And there's a lot of people that are they came for the Grateful Dead, and they've been introduced to bands like Cheese and Pigeons, and Lotus and Umphreys, Panic, everything under the sun, that they've fallen in love with these bands through my stream. And
Mhm.
it's a great feeling. Like, we have a Discord too of 100+ people, and it's very active, and it's a great time. I do it as a hobby, and I would do it if there's nobody in there, or if there was a million people in there. It'd still be just as fun. So I
Yeah,
enjoy
look,
doing it.
when me and Jake started this, I mean, I used to joke, we have tens of listeners, but we weren't necessarily doing it for, we're not getting rich and famous doing this, because we've gotten neither.
Yeah,
We're doing it for the love of the game, for the love of the
exactly.
band. For me, I'll talk about this band to anybody who will listen. So I could either drive a guy at the hardware store crazy while I'm in line, or I can save it for here. Yeah. So, it's cool. But like doing that for 4 years, I mean, like we've been just hit over 2 years, and it's
Nice.
hard. It's hard. It's definitely difficult. I mean, look, Jake's on a little hiatus right now. Love you, Jakey. He'll be back at some point, but it becomes difficult to maintain consistency, always putting it out, right? I mean, you're doing this on a weekly basis. I mean, we kind of put this out. We're trying to do it more consistently now. Try to get to a better cadence of it. We just have gaps, and we do a lot and then a little. So trying to get that more consistent now. But yeah, when I hear you doing it 4 years, I mean, how many episodes have you done now?
So, well,
Or
looking at
streams, I
my
guess we call it streams or
yeah.
episodes.
So looking at my database here for the Sunday streams, we've done a total, not including tonight's, we've done 135, and
Wow,
then
amazing.
the Thursday streams we've done, about 136.
Oh, so you're into
So
close to the 300 mark range. You're starting to close in on total.
yeah,
Amazing, dude. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
yeah,
Look, it
thanks,
takes
man.
time
Yeah,
to
it's
build the
been
audience, and get
yeah.
people interested and involved.
Absolutely. I don't even have any right here with me, but I actually when I first was starting to gain some traction when I was living in Key West, I went to this place and actually printed some like little business cards. I just had like a QR code on it that had the name, and whenever I get chatting with people at shows or festivals, I'll end up being like, hey, if by the way, if you hang out online, here's this. We have a good time. But I'm not like running around just like I'm not like putting it on like people's windshield or shit like that. It's only if I'm like making a connection and whatnot.
You're
Because
going around
again,
Miami doing door hangers.
yeah, man, exactly, yeah, dude. No, dude, no, nobody in Miami likes jam bands except for me.
I mean, look, I've said
That's
it
what it
before.
feels like sometimes.
Trust me, I understand that. I'm like, look, if you're into Latin music, if you're into EDM, say less. You got everything you need and then some. But
Yeah,
like Miami for electronic music is like New York is for jam bands, right? It's just
yeah,
unfortunately the market's small, so it just doesn't bring as many people down there. I mean, look, when I went to see Frasco and Dogs, and the band shell was like 65% full. I'm
hmm,
like, Jesus, like it, but there was a lot of people from the dog pound that I knew from the Northeast that made the trek down. So I was like,
yeah.
dang, people making the trip all the way down to Miami. I love seeing
A
that.
nice little
But yeah,
jamcation, man.
Yeah, well, look, I was, Goose is coming there in like a couple of weeks.
Thanks for
Uh,
reminding me. That is a show that I'm actually going to go see. I'm going to go get. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but that reminded me. I'm going to be
Good.
checking them out both nights in Miami Beach, just because it's walking distance from my apartment. And
Right. I mean, look, I used to be walking distance to Kaseya. So, for me, like,
nice,
I used to go to Miami Heat games all the time because I could literally just walk down, get a cheap ticket last second. And that's why,
nice,
like, I was always every year that, like, Fish would wait to announce New Year's Eve. I'm like, it's the year they're bringing it back. It's the year
yeah.
they're bringing. No, no, no. And so at least they didn't do it this year and really upset me. Um, cool, man. Well, look, anything else you have to plug or you want to go into while you're on?
I mean, not really. I mean, I appreciate you letting me plug that. Yeah, again, twitch.tv/snayrat. Actually, one thing I did want to say though is because we were talking
Yeah.
about, there's not a lot of jam bands down here, but there's like Latin music. I'd love to find some folks that are in, because like I like some Latin music, like my husband being Argentinian, and a lot of my friends just being Latino. I listen to it all the time when I'm with them. A big dream of mine would be to get some folks together in this area that are both into like Latin music and kind of like jam music, kind of make something with that, kind of like try and bridge the gap between those two very different types of people and music, and somehow, I mean, not like Santana type of thing, but like
It's
maybe
Yo Soy
a little
Fiesta.
more like
Let's go.
well, yes, yeah, yo soy fiesta, su casa, that type of stuff. And but like I guess like more like if you could like mix like reggaeton and jam, figure that out somehow.
Look, I think, look, as you've seen bands like the Pigeons do, one of my favorite things when they do covers is they really do chop it up and to make it their own thing, right? They completely like
Exactly.
Walking on the Moon, Rocket Man, right? Like, these are songs that are iconic songs, but they completely just make it something different. And I love how they do that, like when they do the Skipjack, Eleanor Rigby
Yeah.
mashup right there, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I mean, these are songs that are just like, While My Guitar Gently Weeps is a relatively subdued, good song, but they turn it into just an absolute through the roof
Yeah.
rager. Your heart's beating out of your chest by the end of that. Just
Hmm.
so I'm always interested, and that's why with their upcoming Halloween set, Jimmy Shelter, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's gonna be
okay,
cool.
all right. I'm listening, fellas. I'm already kind of looking at flights to Nashville. I'm like, I don't know if I can miss this one. I haven't missed a Halloween run in a while, and we're gonna do a special Halloween episode here next
Nice.
week, and kind of take it back through the years of Halloween runs, and talk about the upcoming run, and the things they've done in the past, because it's always been one of my favorites. I mean, Daft Side of the Moon, like I got the poster right there, was maybe my single favorite Pigeons run that I've ever been to. And it's not just the shows, it was the journey in between. It was the insanity with the friends I was with. Shout out Gavin, Lee, and Tony. But it was just like, it's the friends, it's the music, it's just the adventure. Touring with these guys is just so much fun. Looking forward to getting back out on the road and hanging out with all my crazy friends.
Yeah, same, man. I'll make sure to chat you up at New Year's up in Pittsburgh, or try and find you, right? Because you said you're
Yeah, well,
headed
look,
to New Year's, right?
yeah. So one of the things I'm trying to do now, and go to some of the shows. I know I'm trying to do something at DC, do something at New Year's, is do some sort of like Flockast recording, uh, pre-show or maybe even post-show, depending. It'll be a little harder post-show just because it'll
Yeah.
be like herding cats, but
Yeah.
it might be also for some interesting content. We'll see. But I wanted to try to record some episodes on the road. Me and Jake did that a bunch of times in the past. It always seemed to work out pretty well, and I have a little bit better tech now, so the quality will be a little bit better. It's funny,
Nice,
I was
man.
just in Richmond at this folk festival the other day down on Browns Island, where they Pigeons played Jam Packed. What was that?
Nice.
2 years ago, and where me and Jake, there was this little pathway that goes down behind this, next to the waterway, behind these bushes, and we recorded the episode right there. I think we had Dylan Long and Jack Harper on that episode. But it was just funny to kind of like walk around, peek back around that corner, and look where we had recorded. It's a dodgy little shady spot, but it was just like hilarious. So, but I want to
That's
do something a
cool,
little bit
man.
better set up. Try to set up a flock meetup, try to get some sort of recording together, get some people on. If you're there at New Year's, love to have you back on. You've been great. I really thank you for coming on this week. Pigeons are still off right now until the 25th, where they're at Howlin' at the Moon. And then they're on the road for the Halloween run right there. So get your tickets. Don't wait. I'm sure this run is going to absolutely funk. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on today. Really do
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
it. We'll have to have you back on again sometime soon. Check out his stream. And until next time,